Welcome to a bonus episode. Woo. In my last video, I fit a bodice block and then make a couple of dresses from it. This actually is one of them. But the process of fitting the bodice block took so long. Looking back on the footage makes me laugh. Because in the video, I say something along the lines of like,
it only taking me 3 versions
to make this bodice block and fit it perfectly. Yeah, right. I think I ended up making like somewhere between like 7 and 10 versions before it finally fit me. So you guys requested that I show you the whole process. So here you go. Remember, you asked for this. But let's go ahead and start off with the very first version, which is straight from the package. All I did was add seam allowance, and that's it. That's all I did. Let's go ahead and start off there and see how that fits and see what we need to do, shall we? Okay. It's a wee bit tight. It's a bit tight. I'm gonna let it out and add about ½ inch to both side seams to give myself some more room. The bust darts are in the wrong spot. The bust dart should basically point to the fullest part of your breast. So these are a bit high for me, and the arm is awful. I'm gonna cut off the seam allowance that I added into the pattern and see if that helps, because it's just like, I can't help me. It's also too short. I am long-waisted, I think. Normally, anytime when I'm working with a commercial pattern, I will add an inch or 2 to the waistline, because I know I need it. So I'm gonna add 2 inches plus seam allowance to this waistline. And then let me place the dart. That is actually the fullest part of my breast. It's so tight, it's like flattening my chest. Let's head on over to the table and I'll show you how to make these adjustments. Whenever you're making alterations to a pattern, and this is any pattern, not just a box, you want to trace the pattern onto another sheet of paper and make your alterations to that new pattern that you just traced, keeping the original intact. And you do this each time you make a new version. This is a fail-safe in case the alterations you make don't work and you go too far with them. You always have the last version to go back to. I say this, but I rarely do this when making alterations to patterns. The first thing I need to do with this version too is mark my new apex. Since this is really tight, I'm adding an inch onto the side. This is not the right way to do this, I have found out after doing some more research, but we'll let her be for now. And since I'm long-waisted, I need to add a couple of inches into the waist. I also do this wrong. I should go through the dart instead of going above the dart. But to do this alteration, you would draw a line across your bodice going through the dart. Cut the pattern at the line you just made and tape another piece of paper under the top half of the bodice. Using a ruler, mark out the length you need to add and then draw another line. Tape the bottom half of your bodice down at the new line and then redraw your darts, matching the tip of the dart to the bottom. If you're short-waisted, you would do the same process, only you would overlap your top and bottom halves of your bodice, the amount that you need taken out. And then same thing, just redraw your darts. And then the last thing I do to this version is redraw it. This is not a necessary step. I was just being extra, I guess. In fact, I would say skip this step and just redraw it if it's too messy and you can't like read it properly. And once we have that, we can redraw our darts. Side note, this is not a new cutting mat. I just flipped my purple mat over because after the Baba Yaga project, it was covered in glue and paint. Okay, now let's see how that one fits. Oh, while I'm patterning version 2, I thought I would tell you what my qualifications are to be teaching you how to do this. And they are none. I have none. Don't listen to me. I did not go to fashion school. I did not take sewing classes. I did not take pattern drafting classes. My Mimi, my great grandmother, sewed a lot of clothes when I was little. And for all the babies, she would sew outfits. And I don't know if she ever made outfits for adults. I'm sure she did. She sewed a lot, and she kind of taught me how to sew. It's where I get the base of my skills. When I was younger, I used to go over to her house with my sewing machine, usually when I had busted the tension somehow and could not figure out how to fix it. And then she would always fix it for me and then show me how to do whatever it was I was trying to do. So I'm self-taught. And honestly, I don't know if I'm doing this right. We'll find out when I try it on again. So I've been sewing since I was in high school, but I wasn't like really learning techniques until about 5 years ago. But I sew a lot. I make the majority of my clothes. I know how things should fit me because I have gone through the process of making mock-ups for garments and fitting them to myself. But I've never made a bodice block before. And these are some heavy alterations that I'm doing to this. So let's, I think I'm gonna toss the sleeve aside for now and not deal with it because I don't want to. So we're just gonna focus on just the block. So I've finished patterning out the front and back. So I'm gonna cut this out again and then go ahead and sew up a new mock-up and then see how that fits. If it doesn't work, I'm just gonna get out my original pattern that has different sizes and just size up a couple and then do this all over again, which I don't want to. But the thing is that once you have your block pattern, you never have to make another one. I mean, unless you like, your weight fluctuates extensively. Extensively? That's not the right word. Unless you have like a major weight fluctuation, then you'll probably need a new bodice block. But ideally, you never need one again. I will stay the same size forever, so I don't have to make a new one. Let's go. Oh, okay. We are getting closer, but it's still too small. So I'm just gonna start over and get the larger size. I am gonna make some adjustments off the bat, which is extending it down 2 inches and then adjusting the bust darts so they point towards my apex. And then on the back, once I extend it, I get this here. So I need to do a sway back adjustment. But I'm tired and I don't want to do this anymore. Let me get out the original pattern and retrace it. Okay, we have started over. I went ahead and traced out the largest size. We have some issues. I made 2 adjustments. The first one was moving the darts to the right point. And the second one was extending it down 2 inches. This fits strange for some reason. So I've gone ahead and pinned in the side because it's too big around the bust. So that fixes one issue. Pinned it over here on this side. Now this is happening. I had to reference some books. I have 2 books. I got Gertie's new book for better sewing. And then I also have this Vogue sewing book. And I found this issue in the Vogue sewing book. I apparently have a hollow chest. I did not realize that was something, period. I didn't realize that was a thing. So this is slightly confusing, but it tells us to pin this across the chest and then take it out of the shoulder and the neckline, which is interesting. So I'll show you. Okay, see, it has this like pinning it across the neck, and then right here it shows you taking it out of the shoulder and the neck. So I guess let's try that. So we'll fix this issue. I think I'll also take a little off of the shoulder because I did not add seam allowance when I drew this one, so that's way too far over. Hold on, let me try that again. Here. Okay, so it's this inner line right here. I'll tell you, I almost started this video all over, but I thought it was important to show you the mistakes that I'm making so that for one, you don't make those mistakes, and 2, you know I didn't just like open up my pattern was like, poof, I'm amazing, look at how well this fits. It's like I did this 500 times. You just didn't see it. So I'm not perfect. I'm not very good at this. Takes practice. Okay, and then I did move the start, but now it's like in a weird spot. So I'm gonna redraw my apex and then, nope, okay, another pen color. Okay, so here's my new apex, and then from what I read in the book, the darts should point to your apex, but they should end ½ an inch away from the apex. So this one is really going in the wrong, it's like going here. And then this one comes up too high now. So okay, another issue is I've added too much in the waist now. Your waist is either the smallest section right here, or you can find your waist by doing a little teapot and then kind of bending, putting your little teapot hand where you bend. So my waist is about right here, which is an inch, but I did add seam allowance to the bottom, so I need to take off about ½ an inch. I'm a little tempted to do a curved dart in the bust, which would help with like this right here. I mean, I don't want it to be like, but I do want it to curve a little bit with my body. So I'm gonna do it. We're gonna try it. We're gonna do a curved dart. I see these a lot in Gertie's patterns, the charm patterns. I'm pointing over here because that book is Gertie's. She did charm patterns. Okay, we can do this. I do still feel like I need this sway back adjustment in the back. So I am gonna add that also, making little lines where I need to do the sway back. Okay, let's make these adjustments. I'll make this again. If I have to make this too many more times, I will quit. I will throw everything on the floor like a child and leave this room and never come back. So let's hope we get it this time. Now I have the bigger size. In this first version, I added 2 inches to the waist and moved the apex. With this version, I ended up taking out 1 inch in the waist because it was too long. And this time I go through the dart. Good job. This is the back. So I'm doing a sway back adjustment. With this, you cut through the paper, leaving just a little smidge at the very end so that you have a hinge and it's still attached. Then you just close it up however much you need and then tape it down. This will make the center line a little bit wonky, so you just need to add some paper under it and redraw that line, connecting the top to the bottom. Moving along to the front, after redrawing it, I make that same alteration I did to the back where I take away 1 inch from the waist. Then I decide to make the waist start curved with my French ruler. This is just me messing around and trying something out. It does work in the end version, but in this version there's too much space at the top of the dart, so it puckers pretty bad. I fixed this in the next version by flipping the ruler horizontally so that the fat curve end of the ruler is at the bottom. Now we are at the hollow chest adjustment. With this, you are supposed to measure how much you need taken out. In my case, it was 2 inches, which is way too much. And well, you'll see what it does in a second. But you measure how much you need taken out, and then you take it out of the center neck and the shoulders. Then you redraw your neckline. The armpit was a little high, so I take about ½ an inch from here. I've taken out the seam allowance on the neck and arm's eyes. Redrawing the apex again, I took the pattern over to the mirror and held it up to myself to figure out where they should go. That's it for this version. Let's see how it fits. And this is why you don't make alterations to the pattern itself. You trace over it and make a new one, because we have gone too far and we need to go back a version. I did suspect that this would happen because I was taking a lot out of the front and shoulder. That it did seem like too much, but you know, you just don't know until you know. So here we are. I know I have a few professional seamstress and tailors who subscribe to me, and I am very sorry if you're so frustrated with me right now. But listen, I'm not a professional. I'm doing my best. Okay. I've had some like sinus issues lately, and it's all like draining down my throat, and my throat is very sore, and now I have a cough. So this is gonna be extremely irritating for me to edit now. Back to this. I've already done the pinning. We're gonna go back a version. I forgot to take out this bit in the armpit, I guess. Just didn't do it. I am gonna add just a smidge to the side, like like 1/8 of an inch to each side piece. No, that's too much. I'm gonna add 1/8 of an inch to the front. I do feel like the shoulders got too high. I don't know what happened. Gonna take a little bit out of the shoulders. I'm also gonna move the shoulder seam forward a little bit. So we'll take some out of the back shoulder and add it to the front. I have pinned this center front bit because I'm gonna take a little chunk out of the center front, and I'll show you how I do that. I did do a little bit more reading, a little bit more research, so I think I am prepared. And I feel like I could get this in 2 more versions. I'm thinking maybe. Here's hoping. I honestly don't think I have that many more in me before I just give up. So I do feel like I could get this pretty good 2 more versions. Bust darts, I don't know what happened. They're too high. They're all kinds of whack. Whack. Okay. It is probably because I raised the shoulder a little bit. We're gonna bring those back down. I do like the curved dart, but I need to kind of like finesse it at the top of the dart a little bit more, so it kind of like there's more of a straight line versus the like wheep that it was doing. I feel like the side dart is probably okay once I take in that bit, but I think I'm gonna shorten it just a little. The back is mostly okay. That sway back adjustment we did is, oh, it's good. Brain is fuzzy with sinuses. The only issue now is because I took those 2 inches out of the front for what was that adjustment called? Hollow chest adjustment. We went way too far with that one. We're gonna put some of that back. We're gonna only take out 1 inch this time. And I think that's gonna fix a lot of our issues. We got this. We got this. I've got to finish this because I have other things to do. I don't know. The audacity I have in thinking that I could have done this in 3 turns. 3 versions. The delusion that is me gets me in trouble sometimes. Set back over the table, fix this, and then I think we only need to make minor changes after this one. I'm hoping. I think so. I think I can fix it. I think I got it. You guys, cross your fingers for me. Let's go. Okay. We've gone too far, but we're getting closer. We are working on version 4, but we need to redraw version 2 because we did too much on version 3. But I'm gonna use version 3 as a reference for the dart placement. Looks like the first thing I'm doing is fixing the curved dart. I finally flipped the ruler and that gives me a much smoother dart. I used my hip ruler to redraw the neckline after doing the hollow chest adjustment. And this time I only take out half of what I did in the previous version, so only 1 inch. I need to move the shoulder seam because it's a little too far forward. So I'm taking 1/2 inch from the front shoulder and then I will add 1/2 inch to the back shoulder. And the last major alteration I do to help the chest sit nicer is taking 1 inch from the top center and grading it down to the original bottom center line. You need this line to stay straight because if you don't, then you can't cut it on the fold. Okay. Huh? Minor issues now. It's a little high on the neck, so I'm just gonna bring it down just a smidge. Sorry, black is hard to see, I know, I'm sorry. I did not think about that until after I cut it out, but I did try to add in some white lines so you can see the darts. Darts sitting perfect. There's a little bit of like pulling lines right here, and this because the armhole is a little tight. So I just need to bring this out a smidge, bring this down a smidge. In the back, this is gaping. You can see this, how far it's sitting away from me. So I just need to bring that in. Actually, I might add some little shoulder darts. Neckline in the, okay. Gotta hold the mic. We're gonna add 2 little shoulder darts in the back. The neckline in the back looks good. Everything else in the back I think is sitting really nicely, fits really well. I really like the curved darts. It gives it a real like vintage feel, which is kind of my style. I think I might have a cold because I'm struggling today. My body's a little sore and it's really hard to do anything. Okay, I'm just gonna use this pen to mark where I want the new lines to be. Okay, I think one more. I think one more and I'm done. We're gonna add a little dart in the back shoulders. We're gonna bring the shoulders up a little bit on the arm side and just a smidge on the neck side. Gonna cut the arm's eye a little bit on the front and the back, and then the neckline, and then I think it'll be perfect. I really do. I think it'll be good. I'm really happy with this. Feeling really good. So let me make the minor adjustments, and I'll do it in not black so we can see. We can actually like see everything. Ready? I lied. I didn't make a new one, I just altered the last one. Oh, but gosh, it fits so good. I think I still need to take just a smidge out of the neck because it's sitting just a wee bit high. And the darts didn't help in the back, so I'm just gonna take those back out and then take out this bit here because it still wants to. The only issue is if I have it curved, then I can't cut the back out on a fold if I ever want it to be one piece. So we're not gonna do that. I'll just have to do the same thing I did with the front where I It's great. I'm very pleased with how this front sits. Give myself a pat on the back. Did good. The very last thing I do is add 2 shoulder darts to the back. The first time I put these in, they were too short and not wide enough, so they didn't really do anything. So the second time I did them, I made them about 5 inches long and made them about 1.25 inches deep. But to make the darts, I first draw a line through the middle of the shoulder and just kind of cut down. And then I move the arm's eye side of the dart out to the width that I need. The paper is gonna bunch up into the armpit. That's okay, just kind of fold it down and tape it down. And then you'll add another sheet of paper under that so that you can fix the arm's eye. This mostly fixed the back gaping issue. And then I also did the same thing I did to the front where I took out about 1/2 inch from the center back, grading it down to the bottom like I did with the front. And for the final mock-up, here we are. I do think the back could use a little bit more work. I don't, there's still like a little bit here, but it's fine. I'm done. I think this is as close as I'm gonna get. Ta-da! That's it, this is the reveal. This is the end. Please show YouTube that you like this video by commenting, liking, and subscribing. But that's the end for this bonus video. I will see you guys next week with a new project. Bye.